Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tavern of Tales. If you like my tales, then I'm sure you'll like these as well. Now, I won't bore you with the details, so without further ado, let's get on with it.
Room 713, Fictional Horror Story. The rain pounded against the windshield as three best friends, Emily, Sophia, and Madison, pulled into the parking lot of the old Silver Pines Hotel. They had driven nearly 6 hours through winding mountain roads for a weekend getaway. The hotel stood alone in the middle of the forest. Its flickering neon sign buzzed in the darkness. Silver Pines Hotel. One letter blinked on and off. "It's kind of creepy," Madison admitted. Emily laughed. "That's what makes it fun." Sophia smiled. "As long as the beds are comfortable." The three grabbed their luggage and walked inside. The lobby was strangely quiet. No music, no guests, only an old grandfather clock ticking loudly. Behind the front desk stood an elderly man wearing a faded black suit. His name tag simply read, "Mr. Holloway." He smiled politely. "Checking in?" Emily nodded. "We booked room 713. The smile slowly disappeared from the old man's face. "You may hear noises tonight." The girls exchanged confused looks. "What kind of noises?" Sophia asked. He hesitated. "The hotel settles." He slid the room key across the counter. "And whatever happens." He looked directly into Emily's eyes. "Do not leave your room after midnight." Madison laughed nervously. "Okay." The old man didn't laugh back. Room 713 sat at the very end of the 7th floor. The hallway lights flickered as they walked. When Emily unlocked the door, the room looked surprisingly beautiful. 2 queen beds, a fireplace, large windows overlooking the rain-covered forest. "This place is amazing," Madison said. They unpacked, ordered pizza, watched movies, laughed for hours, and almost forgot the strange warning. Around 11:45 p.m., the rain became heavier. Wind howled outside. Then, knock. 3 soft knocks came from the door. Everyone froze. Emily checked the peephole. No one. She slowly opened the door. The hallway was empty. She closed it again. "Probably kids," she shrugged. Midnight arrived. The lights flickered once, twice. Then everything became completely silent. Even the rain stopped. Sophia noticed something strange. "Do you guys hear that?" They listened. Nothing. Exactly nothing. Not even the air conditioner. The silence felt wrong. Then, a woman began humming somewhere in the hallway. A slow, broken lullaby. The sound grew closer, 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 until it stopped directly outside room 713. Nobody moved. Then, someone slowly tried the doorknob. Click, click, click. Madison whispered, "Don't answer it." The doorknob stopped moving. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, a woman's voice whispered through the door, "Please, I'm cold. Let me in." Emily remembered the old man's warning. "Don't open it." Several minutes passed. Finally, the hallway became quiet again. Thinking whoever it was had left, Sophia carefully looked through the peephole. She immediately screamed. Standing inches from the door was a pale woman. Long, soaking wet black hair covered most of her face. Her skin looked gray. Water dripped onto the carpet. Her head slowly turned toward the peephole. Then she smiled. The girls stumbled backward. Suddenly, the lights went out. Darkness filled the room. A loud crash echoed from the bathroom. Emily grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. The bathroom door slowly creaked open. Nobody was inside. But the mirror had words written across it in dripping water. "Room 713 is mine." Madison began crying. "We have to leave." Emily unlocked the door. The hallway was gone. Instead, there was only endless darkness beyond the doorway. She slammed it shut. The humming started again. This time, inside the room. They slowly turned around. The pale woman now stood beside the fireplace. She wasn't moving, just staring. Her mouth slowly opened. "I've been alone for 70 years. Her neck twisted with a loud crack. "Stay." Her body suddenly rushed toward them. The girls screamed. Emily grabbed a heavy lamp and threw it. The light exploded. For a split second, the room became blindingly bright. The woman disappeared. The hallway returned. "Run!" The girls sprinted down the hallway and into the elevator. The doors closed just as they saw the woman standing motionless at the end of the corridor. She never blinked. They burst into the lobby. Mr. Holloway was already waiting. "I told you not to leave your room after midnight." "You knew?" Madison yelled. The old man sighed. 70 years ago, a bride was abandoned on her wedding night. She waited in room 713. The hotel caught fire. She never escaped. Every storm, she searches for people who will stay with her forever. The girls stared in horror. "Then why is the room still open?" Emily asked. Mr. Holloway looked toward the staircase. "Because no one believes the stories. Until they meet her." The three friends packed their car before sunrise and drove away without looking back. Several months later, Silver Pines Hotel permanently closed after dozens of guests reported hearing a woman humming outside room 713. The building still stands today. Its windows are dark. Its sign no longer glows. But on stormy nights, travelers passing the abandoned hotel sometimes hear soft knocking from the 7th floor, followed by a woman's whisper. "I'm cold. Please, let me in." Man in the Mirrors, fictional horror story. The carnival arrived every October. Bright lights, cotton candy, laughter, Ferris wheels spinning beneath the night sky. 17-year-old friends Noah, Lena, Tyler, and Ava decided to spend their Saturday night there. They won stuffed animals, played carnival games, rode the roller coaster 3 times. Everything felt perfect. Until they reached the oldest attraction in the park. A faded wooden sign hung above its entrance. The Mirror Maze. The paint was peeling. The lights around the entrance flickered. An old ticket collector sat beside the doorway. He looked at them with tired eyes. "Stay together." Noah laughed. "It's just mirrors." The old man didn't smile. "And if you see someone who doesn't have a reflection," he slowly pointed toward the entrance, "run." The friends stepped inside. Instantly, the carnival sounds disappeared. Only silence remained. The maze stretched endlessly. Glass walls reflected them in every direction. It became impossible to tell which hallway was real. Tyler laughed. "This place is huge." Suddenly, a reflection waved. Everyone froze. Only, none of them had moved. Noah looked into the mirror again. Nothing. "I imagined it," he whispered. They continued deeper. The mirrors became older, cracked, cloudy. Some reflected them perfectly. Others didn't. In one mirror, Ava noticed someone standing behind them. A tall man wearing a long black coat, his face hidden beneath an old carnival hat. She spun around. Nobody was there. "Guys," she pointed toward the mirror. The man was gone. They hurried forward. Every turn looked identical. Then, Tyler noticed something strange. Our reflections. He swallowed. They're gone. They all stared. The mirrors reflected only the empty hallway. No people. No movement. Nothing. A deep voice echoed somewhere inside the maze. You shouldn't have come. The lights flickered, one by one. Darkness swallowed sections of the maze. Then, they heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, echoing across the glass. The mysterious man stepped into view. He stood motionless at the end of the hallway. He had no reflection. Only the four friends appeared in every mirror surrounding him. Noah shouted, "Run!" They sprinted through the maze. Every turn led somewhere different. The reflections began changing. Instead of showing themselves, each mirror showed the man getting closer, 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 until every mirror showed him standing directly behind them. Lena screamed. A gloved hand suddenly reached through one of the mirrors. Not around it, through it. It grabbed Tyler's backpack. He yanked free just before the glass rippled like water. The man's pale hand disappeared back inside. They finally reached what looked like the exit. Noah pushed the door open. Instead of outside, they entered another mirror hallway. The maze had trapped them. The lights suddenly went out. Complete darkness. Only breathing. Then, a flashlight switched on. It was Ava's phone. Its beam landed directly on the mysterious man. He stood only a few feet away. His face was smooth. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. Only blank gray skin beneath the hat. Slowly, a mouth split open across his face, far wider than any human could smile. You'll stay. Forever. The mirrors exploded all around them. Glass rained through the air. The four friends covered their faces and kept running. At last, a bright light appeared ahead. They crashed through the final door, falling onto the carnival midway. Music blasted. People laughed. Everything looked normal again. The old ticket collector was waiting. You made it. Noah gasped. What was that? The old man quietly locked the maze doors. Years ago, a carnival worker disappeared inside. They never found him. But every October, he looks for someone to take his place. The friends never returned to that carnival. Months later, the carnival packed up and disappeared, leaving behind only empty grass. But every October, a different carnival arrives in a different town, and hidden among the rides is an old attraction with a weathered wooden sign. The Mirror Maze. The ticket collector still gives the same warning. Stay together. And if you see someone without a reflection, run. Apartment 308, fictional horror story. The apartment building had no name, just faded black numbers mounted above the entrance. 1187. The brick walls were cracked. The hallways smelled of old wood and dust. It was the cheapest apartment 22-year-old Ethan Carter could find. His co-workers warned him not to move there. That building gives people the creeps. Ethan laughed. It's just old. He signed the lease anyway. Apartment 308 became his new home. The landlord, Mrs. Holloway, handed him the keys. She hesitated before letting go. If you hear knocking, she paused. Don't answer after midnight. Ethan smiled. I think I'll survive. She didn't smile back. The apartment was small. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a tiny kitchen, old wooden floors. The rent was unbelievably cheap. It isn't that bad, Ethan muttered. The first 2 days were completely normal. He unpacked, ordered pizza, watched television, went to work. Nothing unusual happened. On the third night, at exactly 12:17 a.m., Knock. 3 slow knocks echoed through the apartment. Ethan looked at the clock. Another knock. 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 He peeked through the peephole. No one stood outside. Only the empty hallway. He opened the door anyway. Nothing. The next morning, his welcome mat had moved. It now faced the opposite direction. He shrugged it off. That night, he woke to footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Walking across his living room. Step. 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 He grabbed a baseball bat, turned on the lights. Nobody. Yet. The television was on. Static filled the screen. The following evening, his bathroom mirror fogged over by itself. Even though nobody had showered, letters slowly appeared. "You should have left." The words disappeared before he could take a picture. Days passed. The apartment grew colder. Lights flickered constantly. Cabinets opened by themselves. The front door occasionally unlocked on its own. Every night, someone knocked exactly 3 times, always at 12:17 a.m. Unable to sleep, Ethan asked an elderly neighbor. She looked terrified. "You live in 308? He nodded. She quietly whispered, "People don't stay there long." She told him the story. Years earlier, a man lived alone in apartment 308. Neighbors constantly heard him talking to someone, but nobody ever saw another person enter. One night, the knocking began. After several weeks, the knocking stopped. So did the man. Police eventually forced the door open. The apartment was empty. No broken windows, no sign of struggle, no evidence he had ever left. Only 3 wet footprints leading into the bedroom, and none leading back out. That night, Ethan packed his bags. He wasn't staying another minute. As he zipped his suitcase, 3 knocks echoed again, closer than ever. Not at the front door. From inside his bedroom. His bedroom door slowly creaked open. The room beyond was completely dark. Someone stood inside. A tall figure, perfectly still, its face hidden in shadow. It slowly lifted one pale hand, pointing toward Ethan. Then, another figure stepped out beside it. Then another, each motionless, watching, waiting. Ethan bolted toward the apartment door. It wouldn't open. He pulled harder. The doorknob wouldn't turn. Behind him, the footsteps began. Slow, dragging, closer. Step, step, step. He didn't dare look back. The apartment lights flickered. Darkness, light, darkness, light. Each time the lights returned, the figures were closer. Finally, the lock clicked. The door burst open. Ethan sprinted into the hallway. He never stopped running. The next morning, he returned with the landlord and police. Apartment 308 was empty, except for one thing. On the bedroom wall, written in black stains, "We were waiting for you." Mrs. Holloway quietly locked the apartment. She nailed the door shut. Months later, a new tenant rented apartment 308. The rent was unbelievably cheap. As the young man carried in his first moving box, Mrs. Holloway handed him the key. Then she gave him the same warning. "If you hear knocking," she looked toward the hallway, "don't answer after midnight." The young man smiled. "I'm sure it'll be fine." Mrs. Holloway watched him disappear into apartment 308. Then, from behind the newly closed door, 3 slow knocks echoed through the hallway. Knock, knock, knock. Campfire that shouldn't burn. Every October, 4 friends planned one camping trip. No phones, no cabins, no other people, just the forest. This year it was Ethan, Ryan, Brooke, and Sarah. The destination was an abandoned campground deep inside Black Pine Forest. Locals refused to go there. When Ethan asked why, the old gas station clerk quietly replied, "If you see a campfire after midnight, don't walk toward it." They laughed. Ghost stories were exactly why they wanted to camp there. By sunset, they reached the forgotten campground. Old fire pits, rotting picnic tables, empty campsites reclaimed by weeds. They pitched their tents beside a small lake. The first night was perfect. They roasted marshmallows, told scary stories, laughed until midnight. Eventually, everyone went to sleep. At exactly 3:03 a.m., Ryan woke up. Someone was humming. A slow, soft, woman's lullaby. Outside, he unzipped the tent. The campground was empty, except, far between the trees, a campfire burned. It hadn't been there earlier. Someone sat beside it. Their back faced him. Long black hair, white clothing, perfectly still. Ryan whispered, "Guys?" Everyone crawled outside. The campfire remained. None of them remembered another campsite nearby. Brooke wanted to investigate. Sarah grabbed her arm. "Didn't that old man say something?" Ryan shrugged. "It's probably another camper." The figure suddenly stood, still facing away, without moving her feet. Her head slowly turned. Farther, farther, until she was looking directly at them, from nearly 50 yards away. The fire instantly went out. The woman disappeared. The next morning they searched the area. No footprints, no ashes, no fire pit, nothing. That night they stayed anyway, determined not to let a ghost story scare them. At 3:03 a.m., the humming returned. This time, much closer. The campfire appeared again. Only now, it stood just beyond their campsite. The woman wasn't alone. 4 people sat around the fire, all facing away. Ryan counted. "Wait, there are only 4 of us." They all looked at each other, then slowly back toward the fire. The 4 seated figures were wearing the exact same clothes they were. Ethan shouted, "Run!" The 4 figures around the fire all stood simultaneously, still with their backs turned. Then, without moving, each head rotated completely around. Every face was theirs, smiling. The forest exploded with whispers, thousands of voices, all saying the same thing: "Stay for one more night." They sprinted toward the truck. Branches grabbed at their clothes. The humming followed. Closer, closer, closer. Ryan glanced behind him. The copies were walking, not running, walking, yet somehow getting closer. They reached the truck. Ethan slammed it into gear. The tires spun through mud before finally catching the road. No one spoke for nearly 20 minutes. Finally, Sarah looked in the rear-view mirror. The campground had vanished. No lake, no tents, no road behind them, only endless forest. When they reached the highway, they stopped at the same gas station. The old clerk stared at them, then quietly asked, "How many of you went camping?" 4. The old man's face turned pale. He slowly counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The friends looked around in confusion. "There are only 4 of us." The old man never took his eyes off the back seat. He whispered, "No, there are 5 now." Church on Hollow Hill. Every town has one place people refuse to talk about. In the small mountain town of Ash Hollow. It was the old church on Hollow Hill. The church stood alone at the highest point overlooking the valley. Its stained glass windows had long since shattered. The wooden cross leaned sideways, cracked by decades of storms. The bell tower no longer rang. At least, no one admitted hearing it. Yet every few weeks, someone claimed they heard a church bell echo through the hills at exactly 3:33 a.m. The strange part? The bell had been removed over 50 years earlier. 24-year-old Daniel Brooks had recently moved to Ash Hollow after accepting a job as a wildlife photographer. He didn't believe ghost stories. He believed every mystery had an explanation. When locals warned him about the church, he smiled. "It's just an abandoned building." The old waitress serving his coffee slowly shook her head. "It's abandoned during the day." That sentence stayed with him. Still, curiosity always won. One cloudy afternoon, Daniel packed his camera and hiked toward Hollow Hill. The path twisted through towering pine trees. Birds chirped. Wind rustled through dead leaves. Everything felt normal. Until he reached the hill. The forest suddenly became silent. No wind, no birds, no insects. Just silence. The church stood before him. Its massive wooden doors were slightly open, as if someone had entered moments earlier. Daniel stepped inside. Dust covered every pew. Spiderwebs stretched across the ceiling. The altar was cracked in half. Yet something felt wrong. There wasn't a single footprint in the dust, not even his own. He looked behind him. The dirt floor remained untouched. His camera suddenly clicked. Flash. 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 By itself. He checked the photos. Every picture looked normal, except the last one. At the end of the center aisle, someone stood there. A priest dressed entirely in black, his face hidden beneath the shadow of his hood. Daniel spun around. The aisle was empty. He hurried outside. As soon as he stepped beyond the church doors, the birds began singing again. The wind returned. Everything felt alive. Daniel convinced himself it had all been stress, until he reviewed the photos that night. The hooded priest appeared in every picture, each time closer. The next evening, Daniel returned to ask questions around town. Most people refused to speak. Finally, an elderly groundskeeper quietly told him the story. Over 70 years ago, a violent storm trapped an entire congregation inside the church during a midnight service. Lightning struck the bell tower. Fire spread through the wooden roof. No one escaped. Some claimed the priest refused to leave because he believed abandoning the church would condemn every soul inside. Others believed something else had entered the church before the fire. Something the priest had been trying to keep locked beneath the sanctuary. The old man leaned closer. "Whatever survived still holds service." Daniel laughed nervously. "You don't actually believe that?" The old man's eyes never left him. "Don't go there after sunset." Naturally, Daniel returned after sunset. He wanted one perfect nighttime photograph. The moon hid behind thick clouds as he climbed Hollow Hill. Halfway up, he heard it. Dong. The church bell. Slow, heavy, echoing through the valley. There was no bell, yet it rang again. Dong. Dong. Every light inside the abandoned church suddenly flickered to life. Warm golden candlelight poured through broken windows. Daniel froze. Someone began singing. Dozens of voices. Soft. Ancient. Perfectly in unison. The church doors slowly opened. People began walking inside. Old men, women, children, all dressed in faded clothes from another era. None of them looked at him. They simply walked into the church without making a sound, one by one, until the final person stopped. A little girl. She turned, smiled, and whispered, "You're late." Then she disappeared inside. Daniel should have run. Instead, He followed. The sanctuary looked nothing like it had that afternoon. Candles burned on every wall. The pews were full, every seat occupied. Hundreds of people sat silently facing the altar. The hooded priest stood before them. His voice echoed through the church. "Welcome." Every head slowly turned, not toward the priest, toward Daniel. Hundreds of empty eyes stared without blinking. Then, together, every person smiled. The priest raised one trembling hand. "We have been waiting." The church doors slammed shut behind Daniel. Every candle instantly went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Only the stained glass windows began glowing red. One by one, the congregation started standing, not walking, standing. Their movements were slow, jerky, like puppets pulled by invisible strings. They began moving toward him. Daniel sprinted for the doors, locked. He threw his shoulder against them. Nothing. Behind him, footsteps, hundreds of them, slow, steady, getting closer. He grabbed an old wooden cross from the wall and swung it wildly. The moment the cross struck the floor, every voice screamed at once. The sound shattered every remaining window. The front doors burst open. Daniel ran without looking back. He didn't stop until sunrise. When police searched the hill later that morning, the church was empty, covered in dust. No candles, no congregation, no footprints, nothing. Except a fresh church bulletin resting neatly on the altar. Printed across the front were the words, "Sunday service attendance, 247. Beneath that, someone had written one more name in fresh black ink. 248, Daniel Brooks. Daniel left Ash Hollow that very afternoon. He never spoke about the church again. Years later, hikers still claim that on cold, foggy nights, they hear a church bell ringing from the top of Hollow Hill. If they follow the sound, they sometimes see warm candlelight glowing through broken stained glass windows. And if they arrive just before 3:33 a.m., they may hear a calm voice drifting through the open doors. "Come in. The service is about to begin."